I actually believe this is one of the most important things that people should do in their life. Remember I saw this video. It was like a dirt bike riding video, and this one guy's part, he said something like, "Oh, like my dad told me you should do something every day that scares you." And I think in order to be happy and in order to develop your character, so you're not just, I don't know, a little bitch, I guess you could say. You kind of should do something that pushes your comfort zone, that basically something that just scares you. You should be doing this stuff constantly, like all the time. And I realize in my life now, I just made all these huge changes, definitely a bit scary. And so I just moved to a foreign country where the language is my second language. On top of that, in this country, they speak Spanish, but their Spanish is like very hard to understand. It's known for being like the most fast Spanish, and it's really crazy. And then on top of that, I completely quit my old career, which was going very well. So I have savings, but I'm sort of basically making just very little money or no money now. It's very scary. Finally, I got this good business and got a bunch of money from it, and now I'm kind of spending the savings, which I don't want to waste it all. And then on top of that, part of the reason I moved to this specific place was to date a girl, and we had the intention of having a very serious relationship. So all these were like massive changes in my life, taking these huge risks with sort of every aspect of my life. But I feel better than I ever have. And doing things like this, I think, is just so important. Like, you have to do those things that scare you. I made a video how I got over my social anxiety or something like that, and really the way that I cured it was just socializing, doing the thing that scared me. And if you have problems like that in your life, like the only way to get over it, in my opinion, is just to do the stuff that scares you. There are a lot of stuff that I've done that just scared me and that pushed my comfort zone a lot. And I think all those things have helped me become a much better person. And they've helped me get over depression and anxiety a lot. I was thinking about, like, I had a lot of social anxiety before. A couple of the things I've done for work, a huge aspect of the job was negotiating prices with people. So I used to grow medical marijuana and sell it to the dispensaries. And I realized when I first sold it to them, wow, those people negotiate so hard, and I have never negotiated before in my life. I remember the first time I went to one, I was so nervous. I was like shaking, like super scared of negotiation. Negotiating for prices is something weird. Like, it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And especially in this scenario, I was walking into their business, and I'm usually just sitting in this back room with, one or two people or whatever alone. It's very intense. It was very, very intense, but I've done it like a million times now. And I've bought and sold a bunch of cars. I was flipping cars for a while. So a massive skill in that business is you have to be good at negotiating, or you're not going to make any money, basically. So I was forced to learn this stuff. And a lot of it is just social skills, and it's just having the balls to offend the other person, basically. That's one thing that'll make you good at negotiating, is you just have to have the balls to offend the other person. A lot of people are bad at negotiating. Usually if people aren't good at negotiating, they're either too scared to offend the other person, or they aren't nice enough. So you have to have the skill of being likable. A lot of people will give you a better price or pay you the price you want higher if they just like you. So you have to be like, build rapport, they call it. You have to be good with people. But and then at the same time, you just have to have the balls to just be willing to offend the other person. A lot of times, you lowball somebody with a low price. It's uncomfortable to do that, It's this car they've had for a long time. They've paid a bunch of money into it, and then you're giving them this insulting price. It's hard to do that. Like, it makes me uncomfortable still to do that. But I would consider myself very good at negotiating, probably, I'm sure, way better than the average person, since I've done it so much. And that stuff has benefited my life a lot. Like, it helped with my social skills, my social anxiety a lot. and it just made me a lot of money. And if you improve your social skills, that can just affect like every aspect of your life. Social skills are very, very, very important. But getting back, like just doing something that scares you all the time. It's like if you have a job you don't like, you feel stuck in it, you have to be willing to make that change. Like quitting that job there's never going to be a perfect time to quit the job, probably. It's probably going to be a bit scary when you do it. But after you do it, you'll probably feel better, at least in the long run. A lot of times it'll be like the best decision that you make. You know, if you have a job where you're making good money, but it's just affecting your mental health, it's not a job you want, it's not your dream. If you keep doing that in the long run, it can destroy you. But in the short run, you have to, be uncomfortable. You have to face your fear. You have to push your comfort zone. You have to do something that scares you to get out of that. And doing those things is what is going to make your life be amazing instead of just average or normal. Walking up to somebody you have a crush on and talking to them can be one of the scariest things ever. But doing things like that will improve your life. The sky is the limit. They'll improve your life so much. With me, they had, the way they live the opposite of what I'm talking about right here is kind of just stay home and, play video games all day, watch Netflix all day, whatever. It's a very, very comfortable way to live. It's basically you're not pushing your comfort zone at all. I actually have a friend who lives like this, and his life is like horrible. Like he told me once, he's like, I basically try to avoid like stress at all costs and whenever it's possible. And I love the guy, but because of this, his personality is like very weak. And he's got problems. He's a bad alcoholic, but the reason is because he instead of doing things in the moment that are uncomfortable to improve his life, he does things to cope. And I'm not saying it's his fault. He's got issues. These are just things he's doing to cope, to get rid of the pain. I'm just saying you can look at this as an example. He's just living his life based on like comfort, trying to be as comfortable as possible, and to avoid the emotional pain of pushing, because there's pain when you push your comfort zone, when you do things that scare you. And because of that, he's, I can tell he's unhappy deep down. His life sucks. And like I was saying, his personality is very weak because of this. It's like when you look at like a hero in a movie, the reason we're so fascinated by these characters and they're so much fun to watch is because they do things that most people wouldn't do. Most people would be too scared to do. Like I was just watching the movie Dune, and the main character, the reason he's the hero is because he's just doing crazy stuff. Like he's risking his life constantly to work for the things that he cares about. He is clearly pushing his comfort zone and doing very terrifying things in that movie. And that's why we like to watch those type of people. Like it's fascinating. Because most people are not going to be that leader. They're just not going to do things like that in their life. But if you look at people who do things like that in their life, their personalities are stronger. They're like a rock. They're very cool people to be around, very interesting people. And you'll be able to, like I was saying, the best thing is you can just improve your life so much more. You can be a stronger person for your family and your friends that you're around. You'll be happier. Your mind will be calmer. When you do things that scare you, it's almost like a meditation. Like your mind starts getting calmer and calmer. You start getting used to these scenarios. And you can stay a lot calmer and be less nervous in things throughout your life as you do these kind of things that scare you. One thing I love doing, I haven't done it in a while, was dirt bike riding. But the reason is because it's terrifying. Like those things are so fast if you've ever ridden a dirt bike. And every time I'm riding them, I'm falling, I'm pushing my comfort zone a little bit, riding a little bit faster than I'm comfortable with, that my skill level should really allow. But that's why it's so much fun, because you do those little things that scare you. And when you first do it, you make that decision, you make that leap, it's very uncomfortable. But after you do it, you feel amazing. Like you feel like you could conquer the world a lot of times. And that's what I want people to do, like all the time, constantly, every day in your life. Go up to that girl, that guy, or whoever you're scared to talk to. You know, ask for a raise that you're scared to ask for. Whatever it is, a lot of times, especially with men in our society, we're scared to show emotion for other people. Like, it can be scary to, you know, as a guy, to tell another guy friend, like, hey, like, I love you, you're very important to me. Do something like that. You do those things, you will feel so much better, and it'll just improve your life so much.